As you begin your job search, it's important that you understand some basic facts about how a job search works. Assumptions in a job search can be fatal, and we want you to have success. So today we'll talk about myths and realities surrounding the job search, how you actually determine what it is you're looking for, multiple strategies that you can use for a job or internship search, and finally, we'll wrap up with how to use a job board effectively. One of the most common myths around is that a job board will actually get you a job or an internship. That's simply not true. Job boards are an important part of a strategy, but they're not a whole strategy. Job boards are widely used, meaning you have lots of competition. And most importantly, there's no way to ensure that the information on them is complete or accurate. Some folks also assume that a networking contact will get you a job or an internship. In fact, when you ask to network, you're actually asking for someone who can get you a job. But that's not the way networking works. Networking done right gets you information that leads to a job. You might assume that you have to find the perfect opportunity, but the reality is very few will find that perfect opportunity right out of the gate. And you may assume that the search will be easy and short. So for example, you might hold off on starting a search until about 2 weeks before you're able to start work. That's not a good idea. The truth is you're going to have to search in ways that others don't to outdistance the competition. It's important to use multiple techniques at the same time to increase the likelihood of effectiveness. Remember that every technique works some of the time, but nothing works all of the time. So if your search strategy is simply a job board or only networking or only looking at a company website, you're not likely to find success. And the truth is, it will be harder than you think and take longer than you think. But a good strategy pays off in the end. So let's talk about what to search for. People often say, well, I'm looking for something in marketing or I'm looking for something in healthcare. But the reality is, the more that you can describe the characteristics of the type of work you're looking for, the more effective you'll be in finding it. So when you define your job target, think broadly in 2 ways. What do I want to do and where do I want to do it? The what of what you want to do might be job titles, work activities or tasks, technology that is used in that work, specific keywords unique to your academic discipline, or certain specialties or areas within an academic discipline. The important thing to know is that because titles are not always consistent for the same job across companies, it's important that as you define what you're looking for, you're not relying simply on a job title, but you're talking instead about what you'd like to do. I'd like to be checking patients in for medical procedures on a regular basis. I'd like to be researching market trends and making recommendations for what products to buy. Those would be examples of work activities. And sometimes technology is very specific to an industry and can actually be helpful in finding jobs. For example, Meditech software is probably not going to be used outside of the medical profession. Then you'll also want to think about where you want to work, and that's not just geography. What kinds of organizations do you want to work for? Do you want to work for the federal government? Do you want to work for Target or Best Buy? Do you want to work for a social service agency? What industry do you want to be in? Manufacturing? Technology? Medical, social human service? Do you want to work for a small, medium, or a large company? Does it matter to you what that company is about and what it values, what its purpose and mission and vision are? Create a list of these things and revise it as your career goals develop. And come and work with a career coach. We can really help you name what it is you're looking for and where it is you're looking for it. Now, once you have some evolving idea of what it is you want to be looking for, here's some big picture strategies that will help you implement that technique. Most people assume that their first job is going to be the perfect job. What I'm doing is exactly what I want to be doing, and where I'm doing it is exactly where I want to be doing it. But the reality is that's not likely the first time out of the gate. So you have to have some other ways of conceptualizing what kind of job or internship is going to work for you. So the truth is, if we look at the bottom, one of the first goals should be, if you're not in a professional position right now, let's get you into one. There's a difference between barista and bank teller. We want to move you across that threshold where what you're doing, even if it's not what you ultimately want to do, and where you're doing it, even if it's not ultimately what you want to do and where you want to work, is nevertheless professional. That's a good first step. But there are other options that are a reasonable first step as well. For example, what if you take a position where what you are doing is different than what you ultimately want to do, but where you're doing it is perfect? This is what we call the foot in the door approach. I know I want to work for MGH, so I don't mind if my first job at MGH is more in the accounting office as opposed to on a floor or in a healthcare unit. But I've got my foot in the door and I can advance within that company. The reverse scenario is also a reasonable first goal, where what you are doing is what you want to be doing, but where you're doing it is in a less than perfect setting. So for example, suppose you are coordinating the activities of a unit of, let's say, landscapers. So you're doing that coordination, the managing of people and processes, but you don't want to work in landscaping. You ultimately want to get into healthcare. Well, what you are building is management and organization skills that are nevertheless going to be helpful as you advance ultimately to that perfect job. So don't limit yourself to searching for the perfect option. You'll get farther, faster, if you have many workable strategies for advancing your career. When you search, don't necessarily consider every option equal in priority. There are going to be some searches that you're going to spend a lot of time on. Some job applications you're going to spend a lot of time on because they're more valuable to you. There's space for high, medium, and low priority searches. Make no assumptions. Don't decide whether or not you're qualified for the job. You haven't been offered the job. Make the right decision, and the right decision is, am I interested enough to apply for this job? You can't possibly determine if you will take a job until you have actually applied for the job, had an interview, and figured out if it's a good fit. So don't do the recruiter's job. Don't determine if you are qualified for the job or not. That is the recruiter's job. Your decision is, am I interested enough to apply? It can be very helpful to study the careers of others who are doing what you hope to ultimately do to find out how people typically advance from position to position. This is something that can be done on LinkedIn, and a career coach is happy to show you how to do that. And use your job search to do other things, like figure out if your resume's right. Does it have the right knowledge, skills, and abilities on it? Is it matching the job description? Are my skills, abilities, and experience a good fit, or are there some things I'm lacking in that I could actually fix while I'm in the process of a search? And when you use a job board, use a variety of job boards. Use a broad, general job board such as Indeed.com. That can be very helpful. But most industries have industry-specific job boards as well. So for example, you could Google job boards for entertainment management, and you would find job boards that post only entertainment management related positions. And finally, don't minimize the importance of industry-specific or company-specific job boards as well. Don't assume that the job board is complete or accurate. Remember, you're driving the search, not the other way around. So don't limit yourself to only what the job board says. Dig below the surface for information that can lead to other jobs. The more you learn from the job description, the easier it will be to find jobs that are like the one that you just found. The more you learn about companies that offer the positions you want, the easier it will be to find things. Look at the job boards of professional associations as well. Now, a professional association is a group of individuals in the same career field, and it's where they keep their skills current and share best practices, and it's often where jobs are posted. So, for example, doctors belong to the American Medical Association. Career counselors like myself belong to the National Career Development Association. You can find job boards for any career field, and that can be very helpful in a search. And by the way, if you find one company that offers a job you want, find their competitors and look there. They probably have that type of job also. So if you find the job you like at Costco, chances are that job exists at BJ's as well. Use keywords and phrases in addition to job titles when you're searching. And read job descriptions to further add to it and expand your keyword list. Again, we've mentioned job titles are rarely sufficient when conducting a job search. Using the advanced search option on a job board, which I'll demonstrate in another lesson, can actually help you quickly find jobs of interest. Note the names of companies that offer jobs you like to expand your understanding of where jobs exist, and go to the company website sooner rather than later, because whatever job directs you to a company is probably not the only job that that company has available. The bottom line is this: a good job or internship search requires a strategic approach and uses many methods. A good search makes no assumptions like I'm not qualified or these are the only jobs there are. And a good search pursues every option. Now, granted, some options have higher priority than others, but a good search rules nothing else out until it's actually excluded. A job search is a fluid process, not a step-by-step one. And the more strategies you use, the shorter your search will be.